Welcome to Hackthefile. I'm back. On today's episode, we're going to be going over getting started becoming a master hacker by Occupy the Web. Enjoy. All right, we're back. I'm going to be doing at least 2 videos a week or more, hopefully, to catch up for all the videos that I missed. I was very, very busy teaching and doing all that stuff, so I didn't have time. But we're gonna get back on track here, and we're gonna start making videos and pumping them out. I also am starting up my Patreon website, so I'm working on it. So I have a lot of instructional content created for most of these books, and I'm gonna start creating, I guess, memberships on Patreon. So stay tuned for that. You can check it out now, but I don't have anything set up. I'm gonna put the Patreon link in the description, and you guys can check it out, look at it, and get an idea for it and how I'm gonna set it up. But it's there's nothing available right now. I have to create it. So all right, but that's in the future, and then I'll do a video on it and stuff like that. So I created some kind of like learning environment for you guys to start practicing this stuff, and I'm pretty proud of it. So just give me some time and I'll get that running. All right, so getting started becoming a master hacker, we're gonna do that today. Okay, so I want to try to finish this book. We're about 30% through. It's a fun book. I'm gonna focus on this one for a little bit just to try to get this up and running and see what it's all about. Then I think I'm gonna go on to website hacking, so web attacks and stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't done much of that, so I think, I want to get into that. All right, so let's get started. Okay, where we left off was active reconnaissance. Only a fool goes to battle without adequate reconnaissance. And that's true. Master OTW, Occupy the Web. In Chapter 5 on passive reconnaissance, we gathered vast amounts of information about potential targets. In this next phase of reconnaissance, we use active techniques to acquire even more information about the target. In the active reconnaissance phase, we try to determine what ports are open on the target. Open ports are an indication of service running on the system, such as port 445 for SMB and the firewall. In some cases, certain ports must be open for an exploit to work on the system. In addition, by scanning the ports, we can only determine what ports are open and closed and filtered. A firewall is filtering it. But often determining the operating system on port 135 and 139 and 1433 almost invariably indicates a Windows operating system, for instance. And the application on the system, the ports 1433 SQ server, port 3306, MySQL port 1521, Oracle database, for example. Active reconnaissance uses specifically crafted packets that we send to the target to elicit a response. Determining upon how the target responds, our tools can determine whether a port is open, closed, or filtered, which services and what version is installed, what operating system is installed, and the time since the last reboot uptime. Nmap. Whether you're an aspiring master hacker, network engineer, or security engineer, there is one tool you need to be familiar with: Nmap. Nmap began as a simple, modest port scanning tool with the ability to send TCP, UDP, or ICMP packets to a host and its ports to elicit a response. Then, based on the host's response, Nmap determines whether the port is open. Over the years, it has evolved to become a powerful scanning tool with even some exploitation capabilities. For instance, Nmap can be used for one, OS detection, service and version detection, determining the OS uptime, evading firewalls, doing DNS queries and subdomain searches, conducting a denial of service attack, or scanning for vulnerabilities and a whole host of other reconnaissance tasks. Nmap in mass media. Matrix fans, who isn't a Matrix fan, may remember in Matrix Reloaded the Trinity used to find TCP. Port 22 open on the power plant's computer system. SCADA and crack the password to give Neo physical access. Yes, that's our beloved Nmap. Below is a scene from The Matrix Reloaded with Trinity at the keyboard. You likely find Nmap being used in other hacker movies and shows such as Mr. Robot, Black Hat, among others if you watch closely. Many InfoSec researchers have overlooked Nmap in favor for more recent tools, but only at their peril. Nmap has become a versatile reconnaissance tool with scripting capabilities. History of Nmap. Nmap was developed in 1997 and released by Gordon Lyon, aka Fodor Vaskovich Frodor, as a free and open source port and networking scanner in Frack magazine. Frack was among the first hacker publications, and many notable articles were first published there. Nmap has gone through numerous updates and upgrades, with the current version 7.7 fall 2019. This tells you how old this book is. Having been released about 1 year ago, so it's 2020 now. Originally, so this is almost 6 years old, this book. Originally developed for Linux, Nmap has been ported to Windows, Mac OS, and BSD. Nmap was originally a command line tool, but numerous GUIs have been developed for use by the command line challenge. These include ZenMap. I think this is deprecated in Kali Linux. Nmap FE, XNMap. Here we will work without a net. Everything will be from the command line Nmap, but all these techniques can be applied to any of the Nmap GUIs. Now, I personally do not like GUIs. Okay, I like the command line, and the more you practice the command line, the better. You know, GUIs reminds me of sparring or boxing in the gym with really big gloves on and stuff like that. I mean, you learn it. You learn how to, do techniques and stuff, but you don't get the real deal. Okay. Nmap help. Let's look at the Nmap help file for some clues on how to use it. Now, this is very, very important, this help. So let's do nmap-help. Let's do that. All right. I don't even know if I don't even have my Kali box open. All right. So nmap-help, and it's going to come up with the list. The help screen runs for nearly 3 pages. I have captured only the first page, as it has the essential information that we need here now. Notice the usage statement on the second line. Nmap scan types, options, target specifications. So if you want to be a good hacker or pen tester or just all around smart person, you're gonna learn how to use help. Now it takes a while to get used to understanding help because they're different, right? For each thing you type in help for, they're a little bit different. But mastering the help command I think is a very, very, very needful thing. Like, you need to be able to do that, because so if I'm using a tool, let me give you an example. So if I'm using a tool and I don't know how to use it, or I want to use it, right? I can look it up. I can look it up on my phone. I can look it up in ChatGPT and all that, right? But what if I can't do that? Then you need to ask help in there, because help's always in there for if you can find it for some tools, right? And some tools, the help doesn't even help at all. But it's better than nothing. And then you can see how to use it, and then you put two and two together, and your educated guess and all that, and then you can use a tool that you've never used before. You can learn it on the fly, right? So that's what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna start this. Okay, and we'll use this tool. I'm gonna let this sucker start up. And we'll go to Kali, and then it was Nmap dash help. Okay, and this is how it works, right? So we're gonna, like, the most important thing, I guess he said, we're gonna look up at the usage. So we have to type in. So this is how this reads. So I'm gonna type in Nmap, and then I'm gonna do the scan types, right? And then if we look down here, scan techniques. See if we can find some scan types. Okay, so it's under scan techniques, right? So scan techniques, little s, big S, or little s, big T, little s, big A, little s, W, little s, M, TCP, SYN, connect, ACK, Windows, Maven scans. So any of these ones, I guess, do these, right? Is that what that's saying? I don't know. I don't know how to read this. So that's the whole point. We have to try to figure out how to read this. But this is telling you. So dash little s big U is UDP scan. So dash little s big N slash SF or SX big X. It's always little s, it looks like, because it's for scan. TCP null, fin, and XMIS scans are these ones. I guess the null is N, fin, and XMIS. Okay, so it's giving you what they are in the slashes. So this one, little s, big S. This one would be TCP SYN would be the first one, and that's the one that I usually run. Connect is the T, A is ACK, W is window, M is Maven. So this is how you read this, right? Okay, now let's go back to the book. Okay, basic TCP scan. Let's use Metasploitable as our target system to start. Okay, let me start up my Metasploitable then. So I've got a Metasploitable in here. While that's starting up, let's go ahead and think about where we went wrong in life. I'm just kidding. Let's read the rest of this. Okay, let's use Metasploitable as our target system to start. The first step is to find the IP address of our target. In this case, it is 192.168. Okay, yours will likely be different. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something. We're gonna hold off on this, and once I log into this Metasploitable, MSF admin. Remember, it's always MSF admin on these Metasploitables. Okay, so I can obviously go IP config here and get it, but I'm gonna do it a better way. So since I'm on the network, right, and the more you practice this, the better. So I'm gonna open my Kali box, and I'm obviously on my network with that Metasploitables up and running. I'm gonna do net discover. I love net discover. So I must be root. So I'm gonna do my command line kung fu sudo exclamation. It's gonna put sudo in front of the last command I did. Boom. All right, I'm gonna run net discover. So what? And I'm gonna go through this a bunch of times because this is what I learned in these books. That's what I'm saying. Like people don't, I don't understand, but what's going on. But a lot of people don't like books or something. I love books, and so I learn from books constantly. I'm just doing stuff in books, right? Obviously, that's what my channel is, right? That's what we're doing here. And then I translate it to video for you guys. And so for those that learn visually and audibly, with audio words and stuff, then I'm bringing you guys the chance to learn, right? So it's pretty cool. All right, so why I said that is because like what I learned from this is when you see the I mean, and it's just networking 101, right? But we'll get into all that later. But just for a shortcut information on it, the smallest IP address is going to be your firewall. So this one's my firewall, right? And I'm gonna look at my I'm gonna split it and see what's going on, why it's not discovering it. And am I on the same? Oh yeah, I haven't set up I'm on a different I'm on VLN 20. That's awesome. So it can't see it because I set this up for my hacking thing. Okay, so I'm gonna change this. Oh, I actually want to see it, so I'm gonna change this to VLN 10. I'm gonna put this on VLN 10, and I could have just let this up. I don't know why I did that. So I'm just gonna press up and then discover again, and hopefully I don't have to reset my Metasploitable. But now I should see it because. So what happened was I had this Metasploitable. If I go to settings and I go to network, I had this on VLN 20. And so remember when I set this up, this little VM stuff, I put separate VLNs so I can hack them, right? Because there's supposed to be a security measure when you have them on different subnets. All right. Anyways, okay. So now it's on VLN 10, and I can see it because I have my firewall, PF firewall, set up that way, right? And so 192.168.10.1, like I said, the shortest IP is usually the firewall, is a firewall of some sort, right? And that's networking. So when you want to set up a firewall, you want to set it up on .1 or the last one, .55 or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyways, but so this is our IP address of our Metasploitable because this is the only other thing I have on, right? So it's the 192.168.20.100. So that's just a fast way I can do it, and then I can leave this up, right? So I can cancel this because this ain't gonna find anything else. There's nothing else on, but I can leave this up for reference, right? And what I want to do is I can copy this to like this book is cool, becoming a master hacker and all that, and ethical hacking. It's really cool, but information is what's gonna make you a really good hacker, and then tinkering with it and exploring and all that stuff, right? But knowing the rules and whatnot is a really good way to become a master hacker. Okay, so 20.20.100. Oh, because it's got a .20 address, but it's on 10. Weird. All right, that's because I just took it off of .20 and it had, I guess, it decided. So I can restart it. So let me restart that. I'm gonna restart this actually. All right, then I'm gonna start it. Now let's just run through this real quick. I don't know what level everybody's at, but let's just start with the basics. Whenever you're logging in a Metasploitable, it's MSF admin. Okay, that's one thing you're gonna have to remember. the more you use Metasploitable, and you might use Metasploitable a lot. Okay, you might not even know what Metasploitable is. So if you don't, my famous words are what? Google it. Google it, co-pilot it, do some research on Metasploitable. Okay. MS. Now you can change that, but I mean it's basically an exploitable running machine. So, all right. So now we got that. Now let's see what we get when we run this net discover. I think I have my DNS and all that set up yet. So it's the same thing. I actually statically set this like this. So it's gonna come out like that. That's fine. Let's see if I can ping it. That looks about right. Yeah, damn it. I'm gonna have to go in here and change this. All right, let me just change this. I guess I'll show you how I'm gonna change it. I don't know, but so I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna go to network, and we want to power it off. Then I want to go to network, and we want to put this to internal network. I want to put it on the internal network. No, I can put it on VLN 10 if I want. Adapter 2, nothing. Let me see. Where is this? Anyways, I know I had. Did I have to put this to a static? Internal network. All right, so I had to come into. So now I got it on 192.168.10.105 IP address. This puts it on VLN 10, and I can talk to it now. How I did that is I had to enable DHCP in my pfSense or in tools here. So you go to tools, configure automatically, and then the DHCP server, and then I had to go into Metasploitable and set a command so it could reset it or something. So it's kind of complicated, but now I should be able to sudo net discover, and it should have an IP of VLN 10 subnet. So we'll run that. I mean, if I don't get this communicating with each other, then I can't do anything in the book anyway. So now you see that 192. So now it's on VLN subnet 10 instead of 20 now. Okay, now this is the. So my Metasploitable's on there. If I ping it, ping. .105. I should have gave it a number of pings. So let's just go. Yeah. So it says 5 packets transmitted, 5 received. So now I can ping it. Metasploitable is communicating. Now we want to ping. Did I do it here? I can't remember. -C4, and it'll ping it 4 times. Yeah, and then it'll just automatically stop. All right, let's go back to the help. So now we can communicate. It's pinging, it's talking. that took a minute, but it's okay. We're learning, right? The more you do this, the better. We'll go back to our help in the book. All right, in this case, it is okay. So so now we found our IP address for Menace Potable. The simplest, fastest, and most reliable Nmap scan is the TCP scan. It sends TCP packets to attempt a TCP three-way handshake SYN to SYN/ACK to ACK. If you don't know what any of this is, I encourage you as cybersecurity professionals to research this. So you need to look up networking. So what's funny is a lot of hackers or a lot of people inspiring hackers think that they don't have to learn networking. So this is why I was talking about VLN at 10, VLN 20, and their IP addresses, subnets, and stuff. You need to study that as well. If you don't, you're not gonna understand completely what the hell we're doing here, right? And that's just part of the learning process, though. That's the cybersecurity mind state. Now, when you're learning this stuff, okay, it might be brutal to you because your brain is, you're like, and you might not. Some of you might not even like the networking part. You might go, man, I don't like this part. But I can guarantee you, the more you play with it, the more you research it, the more you actually do it hands-on, is the more you're gonna love networking. Okay. If the target system completes a three-way handshake, the port is considered open. The key Nmap option is -s for scan and big T or scan TCP. Okay, and if you look, well, we'll look at our help and see if we can find it. So the big T, we simply add it as an option. After the Nmap command, and then follow with the IP address Nmap -s big T, and then your IP address, right? So that's how you use it. So let's go back and run that. Let's go back to our Kali and run that, okay? So if we look at the -s, it's going to be a scan techniques. Here's your T, right? -s big T. So that's going to be your connect. It says it's the SYN attack. So connect. I don't know. Let's run that bad boy. So I'm going to copy this IP. Right click, copy selected. Open up another one. I'm going to Nmap. I'm going to run Nmap. Nmap -s big T. And then I'm going to right click here. I'm going to paste clipboard. That's a fast way, okay? Now let's run the damn, that ran fast. Okay, so always read your prompts. I always say this, and this is rule number 1. Nay, rule 0. Read your prompts. Okay, a lot of people, they skip the reading their prompts or something, and then you go down the line, and you finally solve your problem when you should have just read your damn prompt. Okay, starting Nmap. Okay, so it's starting and gives me the time. Nmap scan report and it gives me the address that I scanned it. Host is up, means it's up. 977 close TCP ports. Okay, now it's going to show me the port and the state and then the service. So port 21 TCP open, and it tells me the service FTP. Now, if you don't know what these ports are, you need to research them and Google them. This is part of cybersecurity. Now, this is not, we're, becoming a master hacker, all that stuff. This is not just muscle memory. Muscle memory is a big part of this, and I believe in muscle memory. But you need to have the knowledge as well, and you need to do some research on your own. Do you have to go get a college degree? Nope, you don't. Most of the stuff that I've learned was after I graduated. Um, you get your degree just to get you the paper and to get you interested in the field, and then it's on you to do your own research, right? That's what this channel is about. So you need to understand what port this is, and that's the file transfer protocol, okay? And it's used to transfer files. Okay, so this is saying that port 22, port 23, telnet, these are all vulnerable, right? SMP, domain, HTTP, all this is open because it's metasploitable. It's meant to be exploited. So that's why he wanted us to run a scan in the book, which is great because he knows the metasploitable is all going to be vulnerable. Okay. Now in this book, this is for probably basic, intermediate level. You're going to have all this set up so you can run scans. Okay. And like I said, I have a video doing it, but I'm going to start a Patreon, and it's going to be I think the basic tier to set this up is $5 a month. And I'm going to show you how to set this up. I'm going to teach you how to set this up. It also goes with the lecture. So $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever tier you're going to get or whatever, goes with the lecture. So I put together the lecture to teach you what you need to know about this, about the ports. What is a port? What port numbers? I give you a quiz. You take a quiz to check to see if your knowledge is right, and then so I'm setting this all up for people to learn properly, right? Not just watch a video. If you want to watch a video of us doing it and learn on your own, that's what my videos are for. If you really, really want to learn and you really want to know what you're doing, then you're gonna get on my Patreon. And you're gonna subscribe, and then I can give you lectures and teach you actually. And then I think I'm gonna start doing live instruction and stuff too, right? Okay, so now we've got this our Nmap scan. Okay, so let's see what we got. Okay, so we got the same thing he did, right? Same thing he did, because we scanned the same thing. Okay, after a few seconds, Nmap provides output to the computer screen, std out, that includes each port it has results for. The protocol, the port state, open, close, filtered, and the default service running on this port. Please note that Nmap is not telling you what services is running on the port. It's simply telling you the default protocol for that port. Most services can run on any port. From this scan, we can see that numerous ports and services are likely running on this system. Like any tool, Nmap is not perfect. You may receive a erroneous report. This is great. This is a great start to our reconnaissance. Okay, so this is part of reconnaissance. Recon, right? Why is it part of recon? Because we're still doing investigating. We're still trying to see what vulnerabilities they are and how to exploit them, right? That's basically reconnaissance. We're sending out a scout to check out what our enemy is doing or what our target is doing before we send in the troops, right? Of this system, we know the target has numerous services that may be vulnerable to our attack. What we do not know include what UDP ports are running, what operating system is running, what actual services and versions are running. So that's why I use V. I do little s, big V. Basic UDP scan. Now let's see if we can find open UDP ports. The Nmap command to find UDP ports is nearly identical, except we replace the T with the U. Now let's do a UDP scan. Okay, so let's do a UDP scan. So UDP, like I said, you don't know what UDP is. UDP is the unsecure version of TCP. So if we go back to networking 101, like I said, Google it, research it, do your research. But TCP is basically the universal language for communications, right? And it uses a three-way handshake. Yada yada yada. Let's break this down to what you need to know here. TCP is just secure, so it has security in it. So it has encryption, right? It encrypts it, right? UDP is unsecure, and UDP, it doesn't encrypt any information when it's sending it back and forth. It's a protocol that a service or a protocol that does not use encryption, right? That being said, why would we use UDP? We would use UDP when we want to make things fast, communication faster. So like Zoom meetings. If you ever got on these Zoom meetings back in the days and you've seen them and they're going lagging and the people are going and they're lagging, or it's going slow, or even it crashes, that's because it needs instant data transfer. So they usually use UDP. It's something that's just sending data packets back and forth without encrypting them, because so you're getting the information faster, so it's more stable. Streaming gaming. So gamers, when you're gaming online, you're using UDP. You're not using TCP, right? So that being said, it's vulnerable. It's a vulnerable port. So that being said, they're all vulnerable, but this one is extra vulnerable. So that being said, we're gonna run an Nmap UDP scan. So we're gonna take off that T and put a big U. So now it's scanning for UDP, and it's like I said, it's Metasploitable. It's a server, or that's intentionally vulnerable. So we're gonna run that. Let that run while we read. All right, basic UDP. Okay, generally UDP scans take much longer than TCP scans, as the mechanisms that UDP uses for signaling and closed ports is slightly different than TCP, and it is more ambiguous. In my case, TCP scans took 13 seconds, while the UDP scan took 1,000 seconds, and factor of nearly 100% longer, 100 times longer. Be patient with UDP. All right, let's see UDP. I don't want to be that patient. Oh man, it's gonna take a minute. So let's just close this and open. We'll open another. And we'll keep going. All right, single port scan. In some cases, we may only want to know if a single port is open. For instance, we may be considering using the Eternal Blue exploit. And this is, if you don't know what that is, Google it. I mean, this is what's funny about these books. You can follow along and it's fine, but if you're entry level to cyber and you're just browsing and trying stuff, that's what you're gonna have to do for a while, unless you go and do this research, because Eternal Blue, you're not gonna know what that is. So like I said, going back to the fundamentals and the bone bristles of learning cyber, you don't know what something is, highlight it. Okay, copy, go here. Let's open this bad boy up. Actually, I like to use Copilot, so let's Copilot that bad girl. Paste. This one, I don't know why it does this. Copilot is the one you use, okay? Use it. It's gonna give you actual information from the internet. ChatGPT, I use it more for creating things, okay? Eternal Blue is a cyber exploit developed by the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, and then you type in, what's the NSA? That targets a vulnerability in Microsoft's SMB version 1 protocol, allowing attackers to remotely execute code on Windows systems. It became famous after being leaked in 2017 by the hacker group Shadow Brokers. and was later weaponized in major global attacks like WannaCry and NotPetya. Uh, if you want to learn some fascinating information about this world in cybersecurity, you look up everything in this little thing. I just pause the screen, do research on all this stuff. WannaCry, Shadow Brokers, NotPetya, because it's so damn intriguing and so cool that it's going to get you deeper liking cybersecurity. Basically, Eternal Blue was the NSA's basically a nuclear bomb, right? They were creating malware, and they created this Eternal Blue that takes advantage of this SMB version 1, which is basically a email protocol, and it allows them to take over through that vulnerability in that protocol, take over somebody's computer, right? And so what happened was, we don't know. I think we do. I don't know. It was leaked or stolen or something by shadow brokers. This basically sums it up. And it was weaponized. So they took it and they changed it, and they made WannaCry and NotPetya. But the true story is WannaCry and NotPetya. Look that up, man. God, it's such a crazy story. But anyway, so that just tells you what it is, right? So this is how you do research. This is how you learn more about cybersecurity. I don't recommend you reading something and then you don't know what it means and then just skipping past it. It's very important. So, there's a lot of research in cyber, okay? So research that. Okay? All right, let's open this back up. All right, so this is going to be, so we're going to run a what? What are we running now? A single port. Okay. Let's see whether this system has port 445. Open by simply adding -P after the target IP address and port number. Note that SMB is a TCP port, so we use the TCP or the -s big T scan, such as, okay, so we're going to do an open, we're going to do the T -port 445. Okay, let's see if we can run that, and let's see if our UDP scan is done. UDP is still running. We're gonna leave that bad boy running, and close this. I don't need that anymore. It's UDP scan. All right, let's run that Nmap. -s big T, and then it said it wanted to run the port, so port 445. Port 445. Yep, 445. Is that what it said, big T? Little s, big T. That's the problem. Has to be one thing like that. The holiest. Oh, ping. What the? Oh my god. I put ping instead of Nmap. It was like, what is big T? Okay, Nmap scan port 105, TCP port open, Microsoft DS, MAC address. Gave me the MAC address and everything. So I actually scanned this individual port, reading my prompt, starting Nmap scan, gives me the time, Nmap scan report on this, IP address, host is up, port 445 TCP open, Microsoft DS is the service. Okay, so it gave me some information. All right. So that's exactly what we got. Okay. And then if you look at this is different. He put the -P445 together, and I put -P then space 445. You have to remember in command line, everything matters. Spaces, dots, format is king. I mean, if you don't do it right, now obviously this is probably wrong, or we can see if it doesn't matter. So we can run that again and run it the way he showed, like that, right? And see if it does the same thing. So it does the same thing. So in Nmap, it doesn't matter if you do it my way with the -P, but I like it this way because it helps me see it better. I put -P, space 445. You can put it together too. It doesn't matter. But in most cases, in most tools, it matters, and it will not work or run. So you have to always check your spaces, and man, it's terrible. Okay. All right. So now Nmap was okay. So now let's run this one. This command directs Nmap to go out and try the three-way TCP handshake on port 445. If successful, it will report the port open. As you can see above, Nmap found port 445 open and presumes there is an SMB Samba if it's Linux system running on that port. If we want to scan an entire subnet for port 445 and SMB, you could use CIDR notation for the subnet and leave everything else the same as the previous command. So we can see this, it's going to check everything on this and then that range, right? And let's do that. Okay. So now we'll .0.0/24. Now I'm gonna scan everything on this IP range. Okay, starting from 0 subnet, and this might take a minute, but it goes all the way to 255, right? So, yeah, P. Okay, yeah. Now Nmap will scan every device on that subnet, 255 IPs. Now, if you don't know what that means, look it up, research it. It's networking. For port 445, and report back to us, as you can see. Above, it found numerous hosts with port 445, some closed, some filtered, some open. Okay, so let's go here. Running. Yep. So now it scanned every IP address. So starting with 0, 0, 01, 02, 03, all the way to 255, right? Because there's 250. That's what that mask is, right? 255.255. And then so we can put devices on here on this subnet of 0, 254, I think, 253, because you need to keep one of those designated for what? For your firewall, right? Or your router. Let's see what happens. This is still scanning. Damn. Okay, I could probably close this help now. I mean, this is fun. Okay, so now do the next one. So that Get the OS, the service, and their versions. At this point, we only know what UDP and TCP ports are open and default protocols to run on them. We still don't know the operating system, the actual services running on the ports, the version of the services. Different versions have different vulnerabilities. The A switch in Nmap can help us with these remaining unknowns, such as Nmap A. Oh yeah, I just put version, but that's okay. This can also take longer to complete, as it has much more to do with simply scanning for ports. A very deterministic process. In this scan, Nmap will be probing into each port with specifically crafted packets. Then, while evaluating the differences in the response, determine the services in its version. It uses a similar deterministic process for determining the operating system, as I outlined in Chapter 5 on P0F. Each operating system TCP/IP stack places slightly different values and header fields. By reading those fields, we can highly accurately estimate the underlying target operating system. As we can see above, Nmap went to each of the open ports, sent packet probes, and makes highly reliable estimate of the service version, and other critical information regarding the service, such as commands, even vulnerabilities, not the response for port 21 FTP above, running version this, and port 25 SMTP running postfix. As we can scan the results, we can see the port 80 running Apache, port 3306 running MySQL, and then all the way to the near bottom, as we can see, Nmap's estimate for underlying operations. Okay, so let's see what it wants us to run. The big A. Okay. All right, let's run that. Oh man, that's still running. Let's run that Nmap with the big A. Nmap dash little s, I think T. Oh, wait a minute. Did want to run that port? Big A here. Like that. I think that's what it wanted us to run. Yep. It wanted the big T, right? Yeah. Alright, let's run that. While that's running, man, we got a lot of scans running. Okay. It's done already. Alright, starting Nmap scan report. Host is up. Now, why do I keep reading this top one first? Can anybody tell me why I do that? It's because it might have an error or something. It might say like start Nmap scan error, right? We know that it ran good. Port 445 TCP open, NetBIOS, Samba. Now it's telling me every service they're running. And then, like, I don't know if this tells you, but now we can go look up these vulnerabilities in the NDV database, National Vulnerabilities Database, or we can look this up in the CVE, the Common Vulnerability Exploits database, and we can see what we can use to exploit these off of their versions. It's really great, and it's part of recon. We're still in reconnaissance. Okay, so this is saying host script results, Samba. I mean, this tells you a bunch of stuff. This is cool. Now, okay, so now let's go look. Okay, so this gave us some stuff. Nmap scan Windows 7. Now I don't have a Windows 7 stupid virtual machine because I don't want to get a hold of one. I had one that was free that I got, and it had viruses in it. So I had to delete it to get it off my computer. I downloaded it from an unreputable source. I mean, and it had malware attached to it or something. So It was terrible. Messed my system up for a minute. Had to do all kinds of stuff. So, then I tried it again from a different place, and I got another one that had malware in it. So it's just the Windows 7 servers. Like, you could pay for them through Microsoft, or you can. I think you buy them or something. But man, I'm not willing to do that monthly or buy it or anything. So I don't have one. So I still have to do some research on that and find a good one. But Windows 7 is a good one to use to exploit, like to do the internal blue, because internal blue was set up for Windows 7. Now, obviously, the internal blue exploit that the NSA came up with, and that Shadow Broker stole or whatever, and they modified it. Obviously, it's been patched, right? That vulnerability, and then in better Windows 10 and Windows 11. But Windows 7 has still that vulnerability in it, and that's why a lot of hackers, ethical hackers, they put Windows 7 on their like hacking list and their list of VMs. But I mean, like I said, I had one, and then it had malware on it, so I had to get rid of it. But I'm gonna find another one, and we'll start messing with it. But for now, we're not gonna run it because I don't have it. So, but we can read it. So now let's set up Nmap to scan our Windows 7 system to see what ports are open on it. Let's use the TCP. So we don't have a Windows 7 VM, right? But if we did, we'd run this. Note that Nmap found numerous ports open on our Windows 7 system. For our purposes here, the most important findings are port 445, SMB running, Microsoft DS, and it's correctly identifying the operating system, Windows 7. Those are all operating system variations of the same build of Microsoft. My system has some ports open that yours may not. That's to be expected. So yeah, I'm gonna probably today, after I make this video, I'm gonna see if I can find another Windows 7. I updated my security and my virus software, my file download stuff, but the people that are giving out Windows 7, they know people want it, so hackers can play with them and take advantage of the vulnerabilities. And so they put all kinds of malware that's going to bypass antivirus and the most antivirus, and they're going to get you. So wrap up. With just a few Nmap commands, we were able to learn a great amount about the devices on our network, including TCP ports, UDP ports, whether ports 445 is open on our entire network, the operating system of the target, which services and their versions are running. Pretty good for a little work of knowledge. This is what I want you to do in part with doing this video. Do the research on all these. Do the research on Eternal Blue. You don't have to write things down, take tests or anything, but co-pilot them, Google them, and see and get, read and understand and do that, okay? All right, we're done. I think that's it. I think the next one is HP3 for active reconnaissance is what we're working on. And we'll run these, and this is probably a really great tool. I haven't used it a lot, and then we'll get into active web reconnaissance, and then we'll finish up this chapter, right? We're getting through this book, and it's going to get exponentially funner. Like I said, I think this book, I had this book in my cyber class, and everything looks familiar because we went over everything. So this is the summary of this, and I went through this book command line. I was so excited to go through this book. I went through this book chapter by chapter and command line by command line. just like we're doing now. But I think this was one of my first or second classes I took. I took a um what do you call that? So defensive, and so there's a defensive class, cyber defensive, and cyber offensive. So I had a cyber offensive class. Now it wasn't called ethical hacking or anything, but it was called cyber offensive. And we had to go through this book, Becoming a Master Hacker, and literally go through all this and have little, show that we ran the scans and did all that. So, but I didn't know half of the stuff I was doing because at the same time I was just getting into networking. But it still was fun, right? So what we learned is, let's go back to look at our scans. What we learned is that Nmap is a powerful tool, and let's see what we got from these scans. And you use it for reconnaissance. Oh, here our UDP scan is done. So starting Nmap scan report for this host is up, and port 53 open, domain DHCP C TFTP. Now these are all UDP services, and it says they're all open, so it could, because it's vulnerable, right? So if I was doing a pen test, I would probably go print screen, screenshot taken, view image, and then there's the evidence that all their what do you call it, was compromised, right? I mean, they had all their vulnerabilities. So I want to go here, actually home, and then pictures, and I got a bunch of pictures in here from another lab, but if I want to take those out, and let's say I'm running a pen test, I'm going to take another picture, take a picture of that, go to my pictures, and there you go. There's my evidence, right? Also can hash it. And so let's say, so here's, and this is just, let's say I'm running a pen test or whatever, and this is my evidence. Now, I wrote a script, a hashing script called shadow keys. So let's go, I'm going to open the terminal here on my desktop, and I'm just going to run shadow key I don't know what the hell I named it, evidence hasher log. And what I can do is I can just go like this, so I made an evidence hasher. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to run this. Dark crown, play skip. So what it did was I made a bash script. So if you look at this bash, now this is just extra stuff I want to close out because it's pretty cool. Open this with Mousepad. So if you do my Patreon, I'll teach you how to do bash script and everything too. But this is bash script, and it's gonna take if I run it, it's gonna take the evidence out of my pictures directory and send it over to an evidence folder here, shadow key, and then there you go, and then it puts it in here, and then so now I have evidence, and then I have my evidence log. So I'll open that up, and it tells me the date and time I used it, and it makes a screenshot. Puts the screenshot, and then it makes a SHA-256 hash of it. That way, if I need to show this to somebody and I need to send it, they can compare the hashes and make sure it wasn't tampered with, that its data is not compromised, right? And this is for like digital forensics or pen testing or anything like that. So that's just a little extra. And that's it. So we learned a lot today about that Nmap scanning and the book Becoming a Master Hacker. And if you have any questions or comments, put it in there. I'm gonna make the next chapter on this video probably tomorrow, okay? Because I want to try to get as much as I can done on this Becoming a Master Hacker, because it's a really cool book. All right, that was Hack the File. I hope you had fun and hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.